Next on the agenda was to have Arlene Miller from DEP do a 5-minute curbside collection overview.
Okay. So what I do is I talk a little bit about some of my thoughts about curbside collection. This is not to be a pro or con. It's just supposed to be some information about curbside collection, but then to see what questions you might have on that subject, because yes.
I didn't mean to, well, I don't know if you can answer Mr. Odger's question about fees and delinquency. Yes.
Yeah, I can respond to that. I think that Arlene could probably respond in terms of what other communities have done, and I think in terms of what Northampton needs to do, there's work that the Board of Public Works needs to do. My understanding is that the City Council needs to approve an ordinance change to implement a curbside collection program. So some of these things about delinquency and what needs to be done, I think are legal decisions that need to be made and approved by the City Council. So I think there's some legwork that needs to be done before the answer is specific for this city, but maybe Arlene can talk about that.
I think you summarized it, from my understanding, pretty well about what a community, what a city does, or a town. In that case, if they don't pay a fee, it would be fine. It's just like you said, and then I believe they usually use the lien because it's simple, and at one point in time the city would get its money back. A private hauler, and you could answer this better than I, probably just gives them a certain amount of time and then drops them.
Right.
And the same would happen, I would assume, here with the city, with a city situation, that after a period of time, the person would no longer receive the service. They're not just going to keep getting the service and getting the service, I wouldn't think, for an unlimited amount of time if they haven't paid their fee. At some point, the service would turn off.
However, there would be a lien on the property, or potentially there could be?
I know, I don't know what Northampton's going to do, but I
Right.
do know in certain similar situations in other communities, that's a stick that communities can use and often do use because it's clean, it's within the law, and it gets the job done.
Mm-hmm.
And the city and the town therefore would get their money back.
Okay.
It's often used. I can't speak for what Northampton would do.
All right.
I just want to say something. Some of that with property taxes, I don't know about water and sewer. It's right in the statutes. It's actually required by statute, by state statute, in terms of property taxes. And I just don't know right now with water and sewer if that's statutory or, but I think it might be. And then I just don't know about
Trash.
fees.
Well, a couple things. First is, can you explain what you mean by it's clean, to be able to put a lien on a house? What does that mean?
It's within the law. It's it's a accepted practice of collecting something that's due to a municipality. It's not archaic or something new or untried. It's within the bag of accepted material, ways to go about collecting.
So then I guess the second then option would be, so if we had, and I'm just saying with curbside, if that was the case and someone, I think there's a motivation to pay your water bill because you want to be able to drink your water or wash your clothes, but then it goes back to Donna's concern, which is the health issue. If you don't pay your trash curbside, and then the city doesn't pick it up.
I'd rather we didn't get into
Yeah.
a discussion about this now.
Sure.
Just wanted to attempt to have possibly an answer to this
Okay.
question.
Thank you.
Because then we can discuss it after we see where we are at with this. Okay, thank you.
So I don't know exactly what you want on this, Wendy. You did give me some ideas about discussion on curbside just because you felt it hadn't been discussed a tremendous amount around the table. But so I did a little bit of research and a little bit I'm just going to sort of talk about. In the state of Massachusetts, according to my count, about 73% of the communities have curbside trash and recycling collection. In Western Mass, about 25% of the communities have curbside collection and trash and recycling collection. It's pretty much a density issue. East of 495, it's pretty much curbside. West of 495, the numbers change, and I think it's the smaller towns makes more sense to have drop-off. And when I say trash and recycling, typically we see, and certainly DEP recommends, that whatever form you use for trash, so if trash is curbside, that recycling would be with it. So that's what I'm saying. There are a few exceptions to that, but generally if it's a curbside trash, it's curbside recycling, drop-off trash, drop-off recycling. In terms of city-run service versus private hauler service in Western Mass and in the Commonwealth, there's examples of both. In our area, certainly, there's Greenfield, Westfield, Chicopee, Holyoke, Springfield, that own their own equipment and run the service themselves. There's several, many communities like Long Meadow, East Long Meadow, Agawam, West Springfield, who go out, South Hadley, who go out to bid and hire a private hauler. When they go out to bid and hire a private hauler, they generally do a 3 to 5 year contract with that hauler. The trash is, for every community that I know that has curbside trash, except with the single exception of South Hadley, is a weekly collection. Recycling tends to be either every other week, where in a single stream situation like Springfield, it's every other week recycling with a large container. Many communities do paper and cardboard 1 week and bottle and cans the other week. Very few that I know of, in fact I don't think I know of any, that do both bottles and cans and paper every week and trash every week, just because if it's a financial thing, it's a little, because of the types of trucks people use, it's easy to rotate it. Let's see, so when they go out to bid, they obviously can add to that RFP whatever service they like, as been talked about around this table. They can have it be single stream or dual stream. They can have it be barrels or not barrels. They can have it be bags. They can have the recycling containers be small or large. They can add to it leaf collection, bulky waste collection, CRT collection. Every time you add to it, the cost increases. So that's part of that. Is it fee-based or taxes? It used to be many years ago that most communities were tax-based, and everything is segueing more toward fee-based. We talked about this before, and so I don't misquote myself. In Western Mass, let me get my numbers straight, only 12 of the communities are 100% tax-based in their service, and the rest are some form of fee-based, either pay-as-you-throw or a flat fee, or transfer station sticker fee, something like that. So less and less, it's a pure tax-based system. There's no perfect model. The best model, every time I talk to kids at the MRF when I do tours, we talk about the difference between a landfill and incineration or waste to energy. We say, which is better? And they usually can say, well, there's both bad. Put it in the air, it's one thing. Put it in the ground, it's another thing. Best thing would be if we didn't have any trash. Well, guess what? We all have trash. So whether it's curbside or transfer station, there's negatives to either one. Thought I'd address a couple of the myths because you asked me to. The barrels are blown all over the place. Well, a lot of communities in Massachusetts have curbside programs. And I can tell you that if you have a good hauler, the barrels are not blown all over the place. Yes, wind does happen. Yes, occasionally a barrel might fall over, but it is not the norm. It's not a problem, or people wouldn't be doing this kind of a thing. So that's a myth that I don't believe is accurate, in my opinion. Animals are destroying the trash. Certainly in some rural communities, if people know they have an animal issue, Shutesbury used to have blackbirds come down and get in their bags. So they figured that out, put the bags in a barrel. Wasn't rocket science, and they have a pay-as-you-throw curbside program in Shutesbury, and they just put the bag, the blue bag or the green bag, whatever color the bag is, in a barrel. And it protects it from the animal. So I think that, again, that's not, these are programs that people have lived with throughout the country for many, many years, and they figured out that these things can work. Snow happens. We're in New England. And we had enormous snow this winter. I live in a town with a curbside program, and it was, God bless the haulers. They really earned their keep this winter. Some days they canceled collection because of the snow. and that happened. And you know what, we actually lived through it. Our pickup was delayed a day, and we had put our barrels out the next day, and it worked out fine. So don't make your decision, and again, I'm not for or against, don't make your decision based on these kind of myths. That's all I'm trying to say. Blowing, I think I talked about the wind, that does happen, but I've been in, seen good haulers and bad haulers, and there are such, good haulers and bad haulers. And I've had haulers that just did this with the barrel, and I would call them a bad hauler. And then it looked like, we always used to say it looked like there was a battle in this town after they've left the town. And now we have a good hauler, and it doesn't look like that anymore. So it's really, good haulers put the barrel back where they got it from, and it doesn't happen bad. So I guess that's just a general overview of it. I'm happy to field questions, because I don't know where you're coming from. If you have any other questions about that, I think you've thought about this, so I may be just being very repetitive, and I don't want to take your time on that, so.
Any questions? I just want to address the word myth that you used. Sometimes I think myth means absolutely untrue. I think they're just issues that perhaps aren't myths, because they do happen, but I
Yes.
think they get blown out of proportion in terms of it being, as you said, a deterrent to even thinking about considering something as an option.
Right, I don't think this is a reason not to do something, because these things, I mean, there are, no matter what, again, program you have, I mean, hurricanes happen in New England, God forbid we have an earthquake. I mean, things happen, I mean, you know, where your transfer station might have to be closed. I mean, they're for a day or two, or whatever. But we're New Englanders, we persevere, you know, so it's, yeah, but thank you.
Any comments or questions? Okay out there? All right. Thank you, Arlene. Welcome.
We're going to have an overview of curbs, or of drop-offs too.
Whatever she wants.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Excuse me. Are we going to have an overview of drop-offs as well?
No, we're not.
From the expert?
No,
Okay.
we're not. Discussion, unless we have somebody on this committee that feels we need to do that.